state your name, your question, your ask, and your zip code.
Hi, my name's Kathy Sigler. I thought I'd start with a quote from Liz Cheney's 2023 book, Oath and Honor, a Memoir and a Warning. Like other aspiring autocrats, Donald Trump cannot succeed alone. He depends upon enablers and collaborators. Every American should understand what his enablers in Congress, in the leadership of the Republican Party, were willing to do to help Trump seize power in the months after he lost the 2020 election, and what they continue to do to this day. So strong is the lure of power that men and women who had once seemed reasonable and responsible were suddenly willing to violate their oath to the Constitution out of political expediency and loyalty to Donald Trump.
My name is Elaine, and I am an angry old woman. And I'm sure there's some angry men here too. I only had several questions that I wanted to ask Crank. I tried contacting his office in here and in DC, and I posted questions on his website. They were real simple questions, yes or no. First question was, do you realize that your salary of $174,000 a year is paid by all of us? No matter what party we belong to. Question 2. Do you even know a veteran? Right? Do you know a veteran that needs his or her benefits and the medical services that they depend on? 2 or 3. This is 3, right? Okay. 3. Do you even know an elderly person on Social Security and Medicare that depends on these services that we paid for, that you're trying to take away from us? Do you even know anybody like that? Do you, okay, this is 4. Sorry. Do you even know anyone that depends on Medicaid? A child that only gets his or her health care through Medicaid. I have a daughter-in-law that has an inoperable brain tumor. And she also has a wasting disease that turns her insides to crystal. And she has serious back problems. She gets her health care from Medicaid. And I'm sure everybody here knows a child or somebody that needs it. Last one, I promise. Do you know anybody that is on SNAP?
Yep.
Have you ever stood behind someone in line that was trying to figure out, do they have enough in their SNAP account to pay for groceries? I have, and I have been lucky enough to be able to help them pay for it. I'm sorry, I have one more question. I want to know, Jeff, if you have a heart, if you have a soul, if you have compassion, or are you just a flat piece of paper?
Hello, my name is Stephanie Kahn, 80904 is my zip code. I am the granddaughter of a World War II hero who sacrificed his life killing Nazis. And even had an army base named after him in Schweinfurt, Germany called Kahn Barracks. It was fully functioning base until 2014. Out of respect to the thousands of Americans who gave their lives fighting fascism, I want to ask Representative Crank if he will speak out against vile acts such as Elon Musk having the audacity to throw a Nazi salute at the presidential inauguration. Regardless of the mental gymnastics done to downplay this action, it was not autism, it was not a joke, and it was not him sending us his love. The similarities between the Third Reich and the Trump regime is unsettling, and stunts like Heil Hitler salutes aren't helping. How do you respond to these concerns? Will you denounce fascism and support America's long-standing bipartisan democracy?
I'm Scott Flora. I'm too tall. I'm Scott Flora, and I'm a Colorado Springs resident. I'm a veteran. I'm a parent and husband and business owner.
What's your zip code?
And I can remember my zip code. 80904. I'm a veteran, and lots have been said about veterans, so I thought I'd talk about my experience. In 2018, I was just diagnosed with prostate cancer. Some people, friends said, well, that's a good cancer, but it's not. And a lot of people die from it. I'm here, I'm still standing. The VA was great. I got my health care through the VA. And I guess my only point about the VA is the people are great and the systems are messed up.
Yes.
And I see a lot of nods from family and veterans. And so these cuts, a good point was that the people provide the services, and that's for sure. But also, a lot of this money is going to come from possible upgrades to the systems to communicate with the vast array of organizations that work within the VA. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Jennifer. I'm with zip code 80910. It is low, isn't it? Hi, my name's Jennifer. I live in 80910. Me too. I am actually a social worker and have been for 15 years with our troops. It is my understanding that there are over 21,000 civilian federal employees in our district here in Colorado Springs. My question, pretty quick, but just want to know, what are you doing to protect the laws that govern the hiring and firing of these employees? And what are your plans to help the Colorado Springs area if a significant number are laid off?
You guys don't forget your zip code. There.
Name, zip code, question, 60 to 90 minutes. Sorry, that wasn't important. So this is, I'm going to address this to Representative Crank. My name's Dave Coster and I live in 80917. I'm a veteran and a retired civil servant. As a lifelong public servant of the United States, I was proud to repeat my oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. Every time. You swore the same oath, Representative, with your hand on a Bible on the 3rd of January of this year. I'm here now because of that oath, against my normal nature. As you well know, the executive branch is currently in criminal violation of numerous U.S. statutes and court orders, its actions are flagrantly unconstitutional and treasonous. You are derelict of your duty and have broken your oath by not taking action to uphold the Constitution. You have failed at the most important job of any American citizen. So my question to you is, when do you plan to fulfill your God-sworn oath and take action in your capacity of a member of Congress to impeach and prosecute these criminals?
My name is Bear Wilson. I live in 80919. I'm a veteran of the United States Army for almost 10 years. During that time, I served as a military policeman. So I have double check marks. Not only a veteran, but a first responder as well. So right after Trump took office, one of the first things he did was to release 1,500 insurrectionists. Many of them beat and beat and beat again Capitol Police officers, some of whom died, but yet Trump released them. So what I did is I called Crank's office to, like many angry Americans, and complained. And I was told, thank you, which was not acceptable. So I went back with a handwritten letter, told thank you. I wrote an email, and I got a thank you email back that didn't really address it. So I've kind of held this grudge for a while. It's one of those grudges that burns a little bit. So as time goes by, I do follow Crank on social media. And I see that spineless cardboard cutout. He loves to take photo ops with first responders and military people in uniform. He loves to do that. Loves to. But I have news for Congressman Crank. Those aren't props. Those are people that serve this community, and serve this country.
And protect him.
Yeah, and protect him. So my comment to Congressman Crank, and I don't say Representative Crank because he doesn't represent Jack. But my comment to the congressman is, how in the hell can he walk through those hallowed halls of Congress and look at those Capitol Police officers in the eye as he passes them by, many of whom took a beating for his right to do that? How can he look at them without having some sort of remorse? All I asked from him from the very beginning, he sent me a note. He says, look, the president has prerogative. Yep, the president has prerogative. Congress can't change it. Yep, I passed civics. I get all that. I passed my civics in high school. I get that. All I wanted from Congressman Crank was a public statement to condemn the release of those insurrectionists. So all we've gotten is crickets. So whether it's on a microphone being videoed, or if I ever had the opportunity to look him in the eye and tell him he's a hypocrite and a fake.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes. I'm Deb Griffin, and I'm a cardiology nurse practitioner in zip code 80924. And I'm going to talk to Jeff here. As a healthcare provider for 30 plus years, in our practice, we have a large population of patients on Medicare and Medicaid. I'm very concerned about the House Republican budget resolution and the impact it will have on this vulnerable population. Dr. Oz, he skillfully dodged all the questions when he was asked about using what is going on with that and about the uncertainty of the budget, and that's an unacceptable excuse. How will you, Jeff, ensure, as our representative or congressman, thank you, Bear, ensure the right to health care on all of our Medicare and Medicaid people that are in your district?
Love you, sir. Love you, sir.
Hello, how you doing? I'm John Gerald, 80910, and I'm a proud union member. We actually live here. I think I'll tell you affiliates. And I'm also the chair of the El Paso County Democratic Party. So thanks everyone. Thank you so much. So I will say, if you were here because you're mad that you didn't have the opportunity to tell Crank how much you like his policies, I'm not the guy to talk to. If you do want to talk about what we can do to stop his policies in El Paso County, come talk to me in a little bit. And my question to Crank is, how are you feeling about your chances right now of holding this seat?
My name is Amber, and I live in zip code 80905. My name is Amber, and I live in zip code 80905. I'm going to look up like this. So Congressman Crank is a member of the House Armed Services Committee, and specifically on the subcommittee on military personnel. So the president in January signed an executive order called the Prioritizing Military Excellence and Readiness, where it lists suicidality as a mental health condition that is incompatible with military service. Representative Crank, being a member of the Subcommittee on Military Personnel, I just want to know what he plans to do to advocate for military members who may be in crisis and need to seek mental health care, which is already so stigmatized. And now, because of this executive order, they may be risking their careers and seeking that help that they desperately need.
Hi everybody, my name is Max. I'm living in 80919. As a registered dietitian in a large-scale institutional food service, I'm directly responsible for ensuring that over 40,000 patients, children, and inmates are fed 2 to 3 meals a day in our hospitals, nursing homes, schools, and prisons all over the western region of the U.S. And what I'm seeing transpire on the front lines of our nation's food production is irresponsible and unethical. The administration's actions, seemingly without even a concept of a plan, have exacerbated nationwide issues in the food supply chain. The directive to deport everyone, which you support, Congressman Crank, has led to widespread staffing issues on farms and processing plants, where workers are afraid to show up to work under threat of being rounded up. Restaurants and warehouses are facing the same issue. The bird flu only getting worse. My vendors and producers are telling everybody to anticipate between 25 to 50% increase in egg and poultry prices over the next few months. On top of that, tariffs against our largest trade partners are only going to further increase prices at a time when the domestic workforce dwindles, and we are far from ready to support the demand for increased domestic production. So, my question for you, Congressman Crank, what steps are you going to take locally and nationally to rectify these issues and ensure that your constituents are not falling into poverty, just trying to feed themselves and their family? Yep. The skyrocketing costs and increased scarcity of all food affects you and literally every single one of us and everybody in this country. There are those of us locally who are actually experts, not AI, not Doge, not worm-brained RFK. But actual tangible members of your local community. Help us, help you. Together we feast, hungry, you fall.
Well, I'm the shorty of the group, I can tell. Hi, everybody, I'm Nancy. I have been a nurse for 45 years. I have too many concerns to even begin to tell you what my biggest concern is. By the way, my zip code is 80863. However, I am a constituent of Colorado, and more importantly, I am a voter of USA of America. I've been in this community for 30 years, and I have seen a lot of good. Currently, I am working for a nonprofit. That nonprofit just within 2 weeks lost 25% of its funding. I am a senior advocate. I am here to tell you that 10% of all of our nation's elderly are living in poverty. Without Medicaid and SNAP benefits, they would be out the door right now. They would have no place to go, and they would not be able to eat any more than 1 or maybe 2 meals a week. Think about that. You talk about the eggs, that's what they survive on. I'm sorry that they're $12.99 a dozen. Now they're down. But I'm telling you the truth, that's their protein. And they are taking that egg and they are cutting it in half to have it for the next meal. We are starving our elderly people. We should not be doing that. But I have a more fundamental question that I'd like to ask, and it's simple. Mr. Crank, how do you feel about the president disregarding federal level judges' orders? And with that being said, I have a question for you. How come we feel, or you, Mr. Crank, feel that the president has the power and has the ability to write laws and to ignore those laws? And more importantly, how do you feel about him breaking the law?
Hello. As you can tell, I'm such a great public speaker. My name is Dan, and like my mother before me, I am actually a resident of 80863 Woodland Park. I do, however, have 2 friends down here who are residents of 80909. They are parts of the LGBTQ community. One of them is trans, the other is gay. Recently in Idaho, if none of you have noticed, their own legislation has put forward a resolution to demand that the SCOTUS overview, I believe it's called Oberfell, which pretty much gave gay rights marriage. My question is, how are you going to protect that when in your own campaigns you stated that you believe it was a done deal? Kind of rings similar to how, Roe v. Wade was a done deal. So how are you gonna stand by that to the point where when you said that in your campaign trail, even certain religious groups accused you of pushing the homosexual agenda? Additionally, a question for myself. You voted to censure Representative Al Green when he spoke out against Donald Trump. He was one of every Republican who voted to censure him. And you also cheered with fellow Republicans as Mike Johnson ordered him to be removed from the chambers. My question on that is, would you support a retroactive censorship of Representatives Marjorie Taylor Greene and additionally of our own state Representative Lauren Boebert, who did the exact same during Biden's tenure? Do you support free speech or only support it if it is what your party agrees with? And finally, and I hope this doesn't ruffle feathers, for not only Representative Jeff Crank, for all representatives, Democratic, Independent, unaffiliated, for all people in this room who may be watching, what are you doing to prevent the radicalization that has been allowed to permeate, pervade, and pervade our nation? Yes. Are you being complicit in this radicalization by ignoring facts, by ignoring data that disagrees with you? Are you only voting along party lines or lesser of two evils because you have to? Are you being complicit by allowing 10 or few of our own representatives, Democrats, who voted with Jeff Crank to censure Al Green? Are you being complicit by allowing 8 of our own Democratic senators to vote for cloture of a spending bill, then immediately voted against that spending bill for optics, obviously? Are you voting against our First Amendment rights by banning a social media app that you accuse of being Chinese spyware for only so you can secure funding to not only support our allies of Ukraine, but also for a nation that has been actively committing genocide since 1948? Are you blaming LGBTQ plus or minority groups who make up less than 19% of the population for the issues that are caused by those in power? We as a people cannot oppose any party that disagrees with us without also holding our own parties to similar standards. To all representatives, do what's truly right. Quit hiding in cowardice behind your party. Stand up for what is right, even if it might mean going against what your party is. To Republican representatives especially, stop hiding behind fascist ideals designed or disguised as patriotism. Thank you.
We just want to give him a shot.
Talk to them.
Hi, Jeff. So I'm Steph, 80918, and I think Jeff might be familiar with my daily emails. He doesn't. I'm kind of a little bit sick of getting the form letters in response that are vaguely related to the issue that I'm talking about. Maybe it's got a word in common somewhere, but it fails to address the points that I raise. Now, you might have guessed that I'm not originally from around here. I became an American citizen last year, specifically because I'm scared. I wanted to be able to vote against Trump. I felt that I needed to be able to have a voice. And until this last election, I was perfectly content being a green card holder, paying $250 every few years to renew my green card, having to update USCIS on all of my movements, any change of address within 30 days, having to carry that card on my person at all times because being without it is a misdemeanor. I don't think that Jeff really understands what is involved in the immigration process. I don't think he really understands that there are so many people that are perfectly happy to pay into programs that they can never withdraw any money from. I paid into Social Security for 8 years as a non-citizen. As a non-citizen, I would not be able to claim any of that. And I was content with that situation because I believe in it. And everything that he has said, the form letters saying that he supports Doge's work in weeding out fraud. I feel like he doesn't really understand exactly what's going on there. I would welcome his explanation. My biggest question to you, Jeff, is if there's so much fraud that's being discovered and there is so much good work that's happening, where are the charges?
I'm Brenda from 80923. What are you willing to do to ensure that people, all people, including those from other nations, are treated legally and humanely? And my ask is an answer to Indivisible Colorado listing safeguards for humane and legal treatment for people.
I'm Scott Brassfield, and I've been a family practice doc here forever.
Good job, Doc.
Okay. Been around forever here. And 80905. And Jeff's been getting so much shit, and I kind of feel sorry for him.
He needs
I'm
more.
getting grief too. But I'm offering something that'll be really fun. Here's what I did last Saturday at 10 o'clock with the gal right behind me. And we had a blast.
We did.
And what we did was we had a little gathering in front of the Tesla dealership. You'd be surprised how many people that drove past gave us great support. We got some middle fingers. We got a guy complaining about the fact that somebody threw a rock through his windshield. None of us. We stayed in legal territory. And we had lots of honks, lots of thumbs up, and we even had a new car, 18-wheeler, go by and give us a blast from his horn. So, this is our chance to do something about oligarchy, the big problem that Bernie's been bringing up.
Yeah.
We can make a step in that direction by reducing the net worth of the world's quote-unquote richest man. I'm not sure he still is. Because we're off to a head start. The stock market's been a big help. It was traded at $160 on December the 17th, and I think it was like 240 or something, roughly half. Today, so it's really gone down. So he's not richest by as big a margin, and we want to decrease the margin and maybe get him down to number 2. So come out in front of Tesla and protest 10 o'clock this Saturday. We'll have a lot of fun.
Hello, hi, can you hear me? Yes. My name's Teresa McKay. And my original ask has changed. Oh, I'm gonna still do it, but there is a little bit of a change. Oh, my zip code's 80909. So, March 28th, there was supposed to be a gala bash with Steve Bannon at the Antlers. Okay. I know. So today I called the Antlers.
Did they cancel?
They canceled. They told me they canceled. I hope that's true. I asked to talk to management because the young man, nice on the phone. Well, I don't know if he's a young man. The man on the phone, nice, said it was canceled. He had just heard about it 35 minutes before. But he'd send me to management just in case, because there's undergrounds downtown. I'm a native. I know this area. That's more high school days. Anyhow, not my nursing days, thank God. Anyhow, so I asked, are you guys gonna try and bring him in through some backward area? Are you gonna still try and do this gala? I didn't get an answer, but hopefully it is canceled. But the reason I was asking Crank about this is I wanna know, do you represent, do you condone, do you align yourself with this Nazi rhetoric? Right. Yeah. And I don't like it. We don't like it, and we don't agree with it. So, Representative Crank, what are you going to tell your children? And Representative Crank, what are you going to tell your grandchildren? And your great, and your great, and your great grandchildren? Because every day I'm with my grandchild, I think about what the future is for my grandchild. So I want your answer. Oh, by the way, I know I'm going over time. I'm done, pretty close. Every time I call that office, I am so disappointed. The workers talk just like Crank.
Yes.
And they're very rude. They like to tell me I'm rude because I asked them to please repeat my 5 calls to make sure we got it all. Anyhow, Representative Crank, what are you going to do? How are you going to stand? How are you going to stand for this nation and for your children and for all of us? Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean. I live in 80920, and I've been doing a lot of reading recently. A little document you may have heard of called the Constitution. I've also done a lot of reading on oaths of office, and I actually repeated this back to Jeff in one of his emails, or one of my emails to him. And both the president's oath of office and the congressman's oath of office state that they will enact the Constitution and that the laws be faithfully executed. In just the recent days, this isn't even counting like the last, 40 days. In recent days, the Trump administration has ignored the orders of judges and is now attempting, as of this morning, to unpardon people. So it's a very simple, very straightforward question. I would like to know if Representative Crank supports the administration in these actions. And on the last note, I plan to tell my grandchildren that I stood up and fought when it mattered.
And just to note, the zip code is, you guys have probably heard, they think that we're paid actors. I think Jeff Crank said that Indivisible is a terrorist organization. So that's why I'm like, zip code, so they know that we're not paid actors and that we are constituents. So that's my little plug for zip code.
Hi, everybody. My name is Celeste. I am from 80907 zip code. I'd like to talk about the subject of natural resources and wildfire management.
Yes.
Yeah. Our public lands are a treasure for all of us to enjoy. 36% of our state is public lands. Thousands of U.S. Forest, Bureau of Land Management, and National Park employees who care for these lands were illegally fired. This happens at a critical time when wildfire mitigation needs to be addressed. Instead, the president has issued stop work orders to remove hazardous natural materials, as well as cutting federal funds to do this work. In addition, Crank, you support legislation that would open the door for more logging operations, expand oil and gas, while getting rid of environmental protections and endangered species. This type of approach to timber harvesting and oil and gas could actually increase our wildfire risk. Diminishing the quality of our public lands hurts people, wildlife, our state and local economy. How do you justify supporting these actions that will undoubtedly hurt our public lands, affect air and water quality, and put our Colorado communities at risk? Because raking the forest ain't gonna cut it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Roy Matthewson. I live in 80910. And I'm here because it's the cruelty that offends me.
Yes.
I'm so disappointed in my family and friends who have voted for Mr. Crank, Mr. Trump, and
other sociopaths.
The Republican Party is made up of good people. The Republican Party is made up of good people who have been lied to. And they believe the lies. So, for that reason, because of the cruelty, because of my frustration with my family, my friends, those people who I love, who've supported me my whole life, who claim to be Christians, I have decided that I'm also running for Congress. But not as a Democrat, not as a Republican, I'll be running as an independent. The last election, I can't remember if I voted for Joe or River during the primary. I know that I voted for River during the general. But my fear, my concern is Democrats are outnumbered in this district by like a 5-to-3 ratio. I don't see a way that the Democrats move past that 50,000 vote total. We have to find a middle ground. It's the middle.
The two-party system.
It's the middle that has always held our country together. It's the middle that holds us together. If we vilify and call stupid all of those people who have voted for Trump, do you think they're going to come to the Democrats? They're not stupid. They've been lied to.
They choose to believe the lies.
So, ladies and gentlemen, while I am finishing up, I just want you to know, if you think River's the best, great, vote for River. If you think Joe's the best, great, vote for Joe. If you think we need a third way, vote for me. Be independent and vote independent. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I live in 80922. Hey, I thought I might be alone. I'm also the secretary of the El Paso County Democratic Party. If you can't catch John and want to get involved with the party, please have a chat with me. I'm also a fierce public education advocate, and I'm the vice president of Neighbors for Education. So if you are concerned about the Christian nationalist takeover of our school boards, please talk to me about that. We have critical elections all over the region in November, and we need your help because our money is coming in, the churches are getting organized, and they outnumber us if we don't get engaged. All of that is unrelated to what I actually want to talk about. I wasn't going to speak tonight, so I'll apologize if I'm a little bit scattered, but y'all have me fired up, and I felt compelled to speak because I'm also a military spouse. My family has lived here for 5 years. My husband is an active duty service member, and while I love and appreciate all the love that has been given to vets tonight, what we have talked about much less are active duty folks, and they're the ones directly at risk today. And as we watch this administration, rubber stamped by this guy, destabilize our relationships with our allies, align us with dictators around the world, you can imagine what a family like mine is going through. And so I don't have a choice but to stand up. I don't have a choice but to get engaged and bring everyone along with me. And so please continue to come to these events. Please continue to get involved in whatever way you can. Please build community because that's the only way we get through this. And there is a lane for everyone. None of us can do everything, but all of us can do something. So please, please, please find it. Find your lane. Mine's public education, and I'm gonna stay there. And the other thing I have to speak on is what this administration is doing to trans troops is unconscionable. Our family this week saw a 15-year trans troop kicked out of the military only because of who they are. A dedicated service member, an expert in their field. You can't just pluck them off the street. And as a result, they want to talk about readiness. It's a readiness issue. Talk to any service member. They will tell you it's a readiness issue to kick folks out of our military at a time when we cannot recruit more people to the military. So please, I couldn't let that issue go by. And I think that's all. What are you gonna do about it?
Talk to the cardboard.
You guys hear me? Yes. Thank you. Hello, my name is Chauncey Johnson. I'm from the live in the 80910 area. Also running for District 4, so if you live in that area, we'd love your vote. Most importantly though for me, I have two questions for Jeff Crank because I think this is an opportunity. I know that we shellacked a little bit, well not us, but the Senate shellacked a little bit on getting our backs. But we have an opportunity, two more opportunities. So I have two more questions for Jeff Crank, and that would be one, we talk a lot about, or I would say your party loves to talk a lot about how you guys like to be smart with your money. And so I would ask, are you guys going to allow America to default on their own debt and then allow us to spiral down to control when half these people can't even survive off what they're getting right now? And then also two, I would like to ask, this whole entire Trump tax cut thing that's coming up, I think we need to be very clear about what it's doing, what it's happening. If he's trying to tell you and you are allowing it and capitulating to it and saying that if you make $150,000, we're going to cut your taxes and you won't have to pay income taxes anymore. But what we don't tell people and what people don't really know, and what we're not telling people, what you're not telling people, is that that money that people pay in goes into Social Security, goes into Medicaid. So are you going to allow the whole entire Congress and yourself to be capitulant with Donald Trump to cut off Medicaid and Social Security and do tax cuts that will completely just destroy Medicaid and Social Security without actually doing it through Congress, which that was actually appropriated through?
Hello everybody, my name is Jeff Livingston. I live in 80925. So I had a couple of things that I wanted to say up here. First thing is I am running for State House District 15. And as a Jeff, speaking to another Jeff, I feel like I have a little bit of authority in this matter when I say that Jeffs are getting a real bad name right now. I just wanted to say that I deeply appreciate everybody here because I see like the energy and the enthusiasm. It's fantastic. I just want to, you guys are amazing. So, so my question is, how does a representative, somebody who's supposed to make the world a better place by making it better for us, do the things that he is doing and make it sound like he's trying to stand up for somebody that's not himself? I don't understand that concept. So if he could explain that to me, that would be fantastic. That was my question.
Exactly.
I'm basically in agreement there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get down from here. But thank you guys so much for being here, for your time. Let this guy know how you feel by voting him out.
I have to stand on my tippy toes.
I just wonder, military spouses out there, I keep getting letters from Congressman Crank in response to my emails, and he tells me that he's still setting up his office. How long does it take a military spouse to set up a household? I have family members. I have a green card family member. I have an LGBTQ family member, and I'm married to a vet. And I want to know, what are you going to do, Congressman Crank, to help preserve the rights of my green card holder family member, my LGBTQ family member, I probably messed up the initials, sorry, and finally, my husband, a vet who's disabled and has had a terrible time getting into the VA here, or anywhere. San Antonio's the worst, though, I have to tell you. Anyway, and stop sending me the things about your I'll be glad to help you set up your office. Captain Kelly, 80132.
All right, hello, Jeff. I thought you'd be bigger. My first question is, where are you? Did you think this crowd would be too cranky? Well, you're wrong. They're angry, but they're polite, and they want it, and they deserve to speak to you. The first time I met Jeff Crank, he was washing his hands in the bathroom. That's the closest I've ever seen him to believing in science.
He washed his hands.
What's your zip code? I live in 80905. Amber, the Tesla protester, there's been a few others. So that's the Ivy Ball neighborhood, for those of you who don't know. I'm John Edgar, and I'm a past CD5 candidate. I am not currently a CD5 candidate. I ran with Joe. Joe's a great guy. River was a great candidate. And we had Adam was here somewhere. So we had 4 or 5 actually good candidates, all of which would have been better than Crank. I want to just say, about 4.5 months ago, I was in this room, and it was dark, and it started snowing, and the TVs were all around this building. And it got to be a pretty sad night. I'm not going to lie to you. We're worse off now than we were 4.5 months ago. But there's better energy in this room right now. So that inspires me, and it should inspire all of you. Here's what Jeff Crank and Donald Trump want. They want to destroy our government. They want you to stop paying attention. We need to make sure they fail on both of those. Who gets health care through the VA? Raise your hand.
Husband.
Thank you for your service.
Not really, though.
Who gets their health care through Medicare? Wow. I get my health care through the private market, and I pay $1,644 a month for it, and I hate it. You should be scared about losing your access to the VA and Medicare. My mother depends on Social Security and Medicare. I send my son to a Title I public school. And our family makes some of our best memories in the public lands that surround this area, and we can't let them get rid of any of it. So my next question, and I'll end here. When will you show up?
Crank's a little cranky. He definitely is, and he makes me incredibly cranky. I'm Liz Rosenbaum. I live in rural Fountain, 80817. Y'all know who I am. You know I'm not freaking paid. Could you imagine how much money I'd have right now if somebody paid me for my activism? Organizing with my community is my passion. In the Fountain Valley community, I organized with everybody who had a passion for clean and safe drinking water. I finally got Wigwam Water District filters to take out deadly, cancerous-causing PFAS chemicals. For the first bill, with Representative, now Senator Exum, and our Democrat state elected officials. The first bill from 2019 is giving my small community $400,000 to have clean and safe drinking water. I went to Michigan when you were busy doing your cranky shit. And I'm part of a national PFAS organizer coalition. We had a 200-person conference. I demanded the EPA to respond and fulfill the requirements that we had to filter our drinking water with a very complex system. And I asked the EPA to do it. You know what they said? Yes, because who tells Liz Rosenbaum no? We got our EPA grant, but your boss freaking canceled it. So I'm cranky. State of Colorado, boo, right? State of Colorado is coming in clutch until I can fix it. So you want to spend your money really well? We do, right? Keen Footwear stepped in, gave me and my coalition leaders across the United States $30,000 so we can go to Chicago and prevent your chaos from getting worse. There we go. I'm going to get my EPA grant back. Mic drop.
I'm not speaking to him right now. My name is Shonda. I'm from 80908. We had the angry old woman earlier. This is the angry young woman. I grew up in a Republican Christian household, and my stepsister grew up in a Democratic household, and I remember thinking when I was younger that I just wanted to be a good person like her. I didn't care about religion, and I have my own beliefs, but what this guy, what Trump, what Elon is doing is not part of my belief system. Right. I have a 2-year-old daughter. My grandmother has MS, and she's on Medicaid. I have many veterans in my family. I myself work for the government, DOD, DHA, Defense Health Agency, and I do a lot for the VA healthcare system. I write contracts. I see what the government is spending their money on, and I can tell you they have checks and balances for a reason. They do work, but sometimes slime balls get through, like Trump. I had a fire lit under me the second he was elected. And I have had every single kind of emotion come through me. Sadness, anger. I'm so confused. But I also have a ton of empathy for all of the people out there who are following him blindly. Because what is happening to the Trump followers is they are getting their information and it is incorrect. It is the wrong information. And so I dedicated myself when this started happening to inform my friends and family, the people I care about, the people I love, no matter what they say. And my grandparents has stopped me a couple times and they go, "We don't talk about politics in this household." And I said, "Grandma, now is the time. You talk about politics. You talk about what is right and what is wrong. And you talk about what my future is going to look like, what my daughter's future is going to look like." Because I am sure as hell not putting her in a school where she is going to be Bible thumping. She can believe in whoever she wants, but she is not going to tell her friends what they should believe. Because I would never do that. And I am angry. And what I want to know, and what my question for this board here is, when do we get the truth? When do our friends and our family and our loved ones get the truth? And you know who's going to give it to them? You. Everybody here. Everybody here. Start sharing the truthful information with them, whether they like it or not. If it affects them and you love them, share the information. If they're upset at you, they can thank you later. We should just leave them turned.
No, I got a question for you. Hi, Tom Carter, 80921. Father, husband, teacher, engineer, veteran. And I have a question for Mr. Crank. He doesn't deserve representative. After the election and after the inauguration, President Trump came out and declared a national energy emergency. Said we needed to secure energy dominance. And he said, you know, we need to drill more gas, we need more nuclear. And nuclear is great, right? We can get clean energy. And that, you know, the state of Colorado, you just passed HB 251040, advancing nuclear as clean energy. And I've emailed Mr. Crank about this, and I get nothing but a form letter back. This is something that aligns our climate change goals, the things we need to accomplish to achieve economic justice and climate justice around the world. We can make a small difference here in our community. Mr. Crank doesn't give anything but a form email back. So forget answering the hard questions. When are you going to answer the questions that we are in alignment on and we have agreement on? How hard is that? One last thing before I go, I'd like to leave you with some thoughts from this is from a New York Times article called Hobson's Choice in 1952. Wow. 73 years later, it's as relevant today as it was then. Whom do we hold answerable for the sufferance of dishonesty in the government, for the reckless waste of public monies, for the incompetence that wrecks the currency? We can bring to bar the dishonest men, yes, but we are told that men should no longer be held accountable for what they do, only as what they intend. To err is human, it absolves responsibility. Everywhere that is except on the sea. On the sea there is a tradition older than the traditions of the country itself and wiser in its age than this new custom. The tradition that goes with responsibility also goes authority and also accountability. It is cruel, this accountability of men, but the choice of that is to end the responsibility, and finally, as the cruel sea is taught, an end to the confidence and trust in the men who lead. And for men will no longer trust leaders who feel themselves beyond accountability for what they do. And when men lose confidence and trust in those who lead, order disintegrates into chaos and purposeful shifts into derelict relics. Thank you.
All right, hello, my name is Mariah Lauer. I am in zip code 80905. And yes, I am a candidate for Colorado Springs City Council District 3, where we are right now. So I saw somebody with a sign back there that said, "We will be heard," and yes, we are angry. And so I don't have a question for Crank, I have a warning. We are angry and we are unapologetic about it. We're not going to be sorry for it, and we are coming right now to fight the forces of authoritarianism and oligarchy that are showing up right here in our city, that are showing up in our county, that are showing up in our state, and showing up nationally. And he is completely unprepared for what that's going to look like when we are embracing our anger, because it comes from our care for each other. It comes from being angry about injustice, and he is completely unprepared for what we are going to accomplish together.
Well, my name is Gloria Ana Martinez. I am a 7th generation Coloradan. I represent the Ottawa family, and we are 10,000 strong in Colorado. We're 4 Native American tribes and 1 Mexican tribe. I met this pendejo when he was running, and I asked him, and I went up to him down at the VFW, and his wife came running behind him, and so I told him, "So would you get down there have no hair?" I did get in trouble. So my son, who is, and don't tell anybody, he's the Chief of Staff of the National Guard, and he says everybody forgets the National Guard, so don't forget the National Guard.
Yeah.
He's been deployed 3 times, so don't tell me he's a weekend warrior, because I'll beat you up. Because I've been there, let me tell you. I did 25 years at Fort Carson. I did DMWR. I was a whistleblower and got relieved of my duties, so I know exactly what you're going through. about a couple of years ago, I got pulled over and asked if I spoke English. What I said wasn't very nice either. So I got so angry, I called the governor, I went to Bennett's office, I went to the mayor, I went to chief, I went to my bishop at that time when I was teaching Catholic school, and I wanted to know who in the hell came up with that thing on the traffic ticket that you have to learn to speak English. And I told him, you have no clue who I am. My father's cousins are the Heracatas at Rocky Fort. His cousin, who was Mexican, married into the Japanese family. So I got them. Then I got my beautiful brother-in-law who's from Iowa, so I got them. Then I got my beautiful niece who's married to a black man from New York, so I got them. So I got everybody in my family. To include that I have a granddaughter, 2 granddaughters at CSU, I got 1 granddaughter at CU, and I got a grandson at KU, and they damn well better win Thursday. That's all I gotta say. But I'm gonna tell you, it's been the hardest thing for me as a Latina organizer for the Dem Party, because the Hispanics are very fearful right now, even though they're legal like me. They don't want to go to work. I've been depressed about it. I'm fearful because ICE was in my neighborhood, and I live over here at 80909, right by the hospital. So what the hell are they doing out there? I'm predominantly a white neighborhood. You know, unless they're illegal. Maybe they're Irish. Are they legal Irish today? Woo! Shame on them. No, but you guys, did you know, man, this is really a sad situation. We should all be united, and I'll tell you why. 53 years ago, I put my brother in the ground from Vietnam. There was no color that night when they gave us the news. The day I buried him, there was no party. There was nothing. I was an 18-year-old little girl screaming my lungs out, give me back my brother. Then I came to Fort Carson as a Vietnam bride to be told that there was a sign there at Sears that said no Mexicans and dogs allowed. And I've never given up. I'm always going to be an American. My grandfather said, "Tienes a votar, gloria democracia, democracia." And I always have. But I have really good friends that are Republicans, and we argue all the time, but they both know how I feel. So I'm going to ask all of you to look at each other from side to side and remember each other, because this is going to need. So when you see me, everybody knows I'm the lady that wears one kind of hat for one school, because I got to be a grandma to all 5 of them. You all know my long hair I can't cut, because I'm also the chief of my tribe.
Well, I'm very impressed that you all have gotten answers from Craig, even if it was a form letter, because I've gotten nothing. Now, my name is Ellen, and I live in 80906. I haven't heard anyone here yet from 80906. Oh, there we go. I have many questions. I've helped people with their citizenship studying to, get their citizenship, and they're awesome people. But my question is not about that, because I don't want to put them in trouble, because I know they're very scared. My question relates to one of my former students is working for the National, let me get it right, Nuclear Security Admin in DC. And I happened to be talking to her mom when Doge walked into their office. And she's not only in the top security area, she's in the top security area. And so I said, well, are they going in there? Because they keep track of all of our nuclear waste and our nuclear weapons. And she said, well, so far they're not going in. But the next day, they were. And they had to clear out of all their offices. And how many of you have a security clearance? I'm just curious. Yeah. It's tough to get that security clearance. Very, yeah. Well, Musk and his boys, they didn't do anything. Nothing. But they went in with their own servers, and apparently there is no information on what they've taken out of there, which is very concerning, because we know that our current president is very tight with some of our,
He's a Russian asset. We can
okay.
And he has our nuclear codes.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say, it's like Voldemort, you know? But it is concerning to me, and I would want to know, where is this information going?
Yeah.
Now that you have it on your servers. It makes Snowden look like small potatoes. So my question is there a way to track where all of this information has gone? And why aren't these people being prosecuted? Because if I was to walk into an office without any top security clearance, I wouldn't be there long. Yeah, I would be arrested, and probably worse. So I would like some follow-up on what's going to happen with all of this information.
My name is John Dickus, and Mr. Crank, I am one of your constituents. I live in 80132. And one of the things that is causing me the most distress, amongst many of the things that are happening at the federal level, is the assault on public education. And that has motivated me, like a lot of others in this room, to run for public office. I am a candidate for the Colorado State Treasurer at this election in 2026. And one of the reasons I'm running is because I firmly believe that we have to come up with a better framework for public finance for education in Colorado. And I'm gonna say one thing that is particularly problematic with respect to that, and that is Tabor. Okay? It is 30 years since its passage. Tabor has morphed into something that's unrecognizable, and it's wreaking havoc on state finances. And there's got to be a better way, and I'm committed to using the bullied pulpit of the Treasurer's Office to advocate for that better way to public finance education. So, Mr. Frank, you have motivated me, and I hope that in the end some good will come of this. But I will remain hopeful. Thank you all.
I have crippling social anxiety, so I apologize ahead of time. My name is Daniel, 80923, up on the north end of town. I'm an oncology nurse, and I'm going to keep my question just simple. I work at the hospital, and we treat lots of patients that are on Medicare and Medicaid. And I think it's very important that we just kind of emphasize how damaging this resolution on Friday that was passed was. But not only are all my patients not going to be able to afford their medications and get their nutrition drinks that they need through their insurance if these cuts continue to happen the way they are. But the hospitals are going to have lots of issues too, because they can't turn patients away. If a patient can't get care, in their primary clinic or with their oncologist, they're going to end up in the ER, and the ER won't turn them away. So they're just going to continue to, unfortunately, suffer, and hospitals are going to suffer too. And it's very important that we keep these things running for our patients. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that showed up tonight, because you guys gave me the courage to even stand up here.
This is not my thing, but I feel compelled to say this. My name's Dawn, and I'm 80921. And to piggyback on what he said, my husband's a physician. I'm a former medical social worker. And one of the best things that we've done in recent years is the Affordable Care Act. And before the Affordable Care Act, we had patients that couldn't get into primary caregivers. They, their child would have an asthma attack, and they'd have to take them to the ER. That was the only option. Well, since the Affordable Care Act, we have people now that can get into primary caregivers, right? They can go on Colorado Health Exchange, they can get affordable insurance, they can get medication coverage, and now we have people that can see their primary caregiver, can see their pediatrician, and then the ER is left open for people who have really trauma, right? Who need the emergency rooms. So part of this onslaught not only is Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, but the Affordable Care Act is going to be on the chopping block as well. Our healthcare system is not perfect in this country by far, but I don't think you just cut something and get rid of it. You improve it, you allow further access for people, not less access. So that's all I have to say.
All right, we're towards the end of the night. I want to encourage any of you who have some lingering questions. Maybe you thought, oh, I don't know if I have the courage, or I'm an introvert, or whatever that might be. This is your chance. All right. Woo!
I am also an introvert and I hate public speaking. My name is Jennifer. I live in 80919. I did 35 years in federal contracting, 12 years in the Air Force, and then in industry. And all the cuts that Elon Musk has been posting for savings in federal contracts, he has about $22 billion worth.
Yes.
And I didn't see any of his on that cut list. There's no fraud and waste in his contracts. And the USAID contracts that he cut, there was one with one cap for 3 different companies, and they all shared that cap. He listed it 3 times. No mistakes there.
Sure.
Right. They don't know what they're doing. Right. So my question is, are you going to check his math?